Night had fallen over Jerusalem. The city was quiet. But something was about to happen. Something that would change the course of history forever. A man who healed the sick. A man who opened blind eyes. A man who raised the dead was about to face the most painful moment of his life. His name was Jesus. And before the sun would rise again, he would carry a cross to a hill called Golgotha. But the story did not begin at the cross. It began with betrayal. Jesus sat with his disciples in an upper room. It was the night of Passover. The table was filled with bread and wine. But Jesus knew something the others did not. This would be their last meal together. He looked around at the faces of the 12 men who had followed him for years. Then he said quietly, "One of you will betray me." The room fell silent. Each disciple looked at the other in confusion. "Is it I, Lord?" they asked. Jesus dipped bread into the bowl. Then he handed it to Judas. And in that moment, Judas stood up and walked out into the darkness. Later that night, Jesus went to a garden called Gethsemane. He told his disciples, "Stay here and watch while I pray." Jesus walked a little further away and fell to the ground. The weight of what was coming was heavy. He prayed, "Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me." But then he said something that showed his obedience. "Yet not my will, but yours be done."
Suddenly, the quiet garden was filled with noise. Torches lit the darkness. Soldiers and religious leaders arrived with weapons. Leading them was Judas. He walked straight to Jesus and kissed him. That kiss was the signal. The soldiers grabbed Jesus and arrested him. The disciples panicked. Fear took over. One by one, they ran away into the night.
But the worst part had not even begun. What would happen next would reveal the cruelty of men and the incredible love of God. Jesus was taken before the high priest. False witnesses stood up and made accusations, but their stories did not match. Finally, the high priest asked Jesus, "Are you the Son of God?" Jesus answered, "I am." The room exploded with anger. They shouted, "He deserves death!" They spit on him. They struck him, and they mocked him. Outside the courtyard, Peter waited nervously. A servant girl looked at him and said, "You were with Jesus." Peter quickly replied, "I don't know him." Again, someone accused him, and again Peter denied Jesus. Then the rooster crowed. Peter remembered what Jesus had said, and he began to weep bitterly. At dawn, Jesus was taken to the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate. Pilate questioned him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus calmly answered, "My kingdom is not of this world." Pilate found no crime in him, but the crowd outside grew louder. "Crucify him!" Pilate tried to release Jesus, but the crowd would not stop. Finally, Pilate washed his hands and said, "I am innocent of this man's blood." Then he ordered the crucifixion. Roman soldiers took Jesus away. They whipped him mercilessly. They placed a crown of thorns on his head. They put a purple robe on him. Then they mocked him. "Hail, King of the Jews!" They struck him again and again. But even after the beating, Jesus still had to carry the cross. And the road to Golgotha would become one of the most painful journeys in history.
The soldiers placed a heavy wooden cross on Jesus' shoulders. Crowds gathered as he walked through the streets. He was weak from the beating. Blood covered his face. Suddenly, he collapsed. The soldiers forced a man named Simon of Cyrene to help carry the cross. Step by step, they climbed the hill called Golgotha.
At Golgotha, the soldiers laid Jesus on the cross. They drove nails through his hands and through his feet. Then they lifted the cross high into the air. 2 criminals were crucified beside him. People passed by and mocked him. "If you are the Son of God, save yourself." But Jesus stayed on the cross. Then he said something unbelievable. "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." One of the criminals mocked Jesus, but the other said, "We deserve this punishment. But this man has done nothing wrong." Then he turned to Jesus. "Remember me when you come into your kingdom." Jesus answered him, "Today, you will be with me in paradise." At noon, something mysterious happened. The sky turned dark. For 3 hours, the land was covered in darkness. It was as if creation itself was mourning. Jesus cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Finally, Jesus said, "It is finished." Then he prayed, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." And with that, Jesus died. The earth shook. The temple curtain tore in two. A Roman centurion looked up at the cross and said, "Surely this man was the Son of God." The cross looked like defeat, but it was actually victory. Through his sacrifice, Jesus brought hope to the world, and his story continues to inspire millions even today.